Alright, hello everyone, my name is Veritas and welcome back to Destiny 2. Now today is Friday, Xur Day. That means that Xur, an exotic merchant, is hiding somewhere inside of Destiny 2. This week he happens to be on Titan. He seems to be following the flashpoint, so it's only safe to assume that he will be on, I believe, Io next week. But if you're curious as to where he is, he's on the rig. Follow the way I just showed you. If you're curious even more where on the rig he is, go to your map, go to destinations, head to Titan, and then head down to the rig. He is over here hiding in this area. Go ahead and fast travel to the rig and follow the path that I just showed you. And he is inside this little room right here. Spawns over that way. Public event, you know, all this fun stuff. Let's take a look at what he's got, though. He's got some interesting things. I looked at him earlier to let a friend know what he was holding on to, but he's got some interesting stuff this week. So ushers in the decade-long Sunbracers meta. Enjoy that. Nice Destiny 1 reference there. He also has a heavy rocket launcher, so, you know, that's a thing. Who would waste a heavy slot on a rocket launcher? So exotic gear this week, like I said, he has the Wardcliff coil rocket launcher there, 270 attack. This also has a mod in it, so it's technically 265, so be mindful of that when infusing. The Wardcliff coil is actually a pretty interesting rocket launcher. This was known as the Dubious Volley back in the data of the Taken King in Destiny 1, finally introduced into the game in Destiny 2. It's a pretty fun thing to mess around with. We have Mad Scientist, the intrinsic perk here. This weapon fires a volley of rockets. It fires a giant, aimless swarm of arc mini rockets. It's a very fun weapon to mess around with. You have volatile launch, a bunch of increased blast radius and projectile speed and handling speed. Extended magazine, you basically have one rocket per reload, but it also has an interesting trait here, the mechanized autoloader. This weapon automatically reloads on ammo pickup. So if you have this thing equipped, and I mean in your hand, and you walk over a brick of heavy ammo, it will automatically load that rocket, so you don't actually have to physically reload the launcher. It's very interesting. This only affects it when it's actually in your hand physically, not just on your back, so be mindful of that when running around with it. And the final thing here, we have composite stock, so increased stability and handling speed. It's a pretty fun thing to mess around with. It also does have an ornament that I do not have, so I cannot show you. But it's an interesting thing. If you don't have it yet, go ahead and pick it up. It's pretty cheap. Legendary shards are very easy to come by, so there's really no reason to not pick up something you don't have from Xur. Even if you don't think you'll ever use it, you might as well complete your collection. You might find something fun out of something you don't expect you would like. So 270 arc damage there. Fun rocket launcher. If you don't have one, pick one up. I recommend it just to even mess around with it. It's pretty interesting to do things with it. Moving into the exotic armors this week, we have the Hunter Helmet Foe Tracer. This has Relentless Tracker as an intrinsic perk. Relentless Tracker visually marks targeted enemies and deals more damage to low health marked enemies. I believe this gets up to 20 or 30% bonus damage on enemies that have massive amounts of health, so bosses and, you know, HVTs, things like that. It's very useful, I believe, for like boss encounters and, you know, strikes, and even the raid. This might be something you want to pick up here. Very interesting perk here. Mess around with that and see if you enjoy it. I'm going to pick one up because I don't have one yet. This also comes with a mod, Energy Bracket mod. This improves weapon handling for equipped energy weapons, so it's 265 with a legendary mod giving it 270. A fun helmet to mess around with there. I'm going to go ahead and pick one up because I do not have one yet, and I want to mess around with that on my Hunter. Interesting thing there, if you don't have one, grab one. It's definitely worth your time, even if you just use it, you know, to mess around with. Good for melting large targets, public events, things like that. The Titan exotic this week, we have the ACD0 feedback fence. This is a pair of gauntlets that has a slightly modified perk from the original version in Destiny 1. Intrinsic perk here, Fury Conductors. Melee kills build up explosive energy within the ACD0 feedback fence. Being struck by a melee attack unleashes an energy in a devastating explosion. So an interesting combination of things here. Getting melee kills builds up the energy, and being hit releases it in a devastating explosion. It'll be interesting to see how strong that is. From what I can tell, it's not incredibly powerful. The comments on these things have not been too overwhelmingly good, but an interesting alternative if you are, kind of a melee build in any of the subclasses. If you're building around a melee, this might be something you want to mess with. If you don't have them, pick them up if you want to finish your collection, things like that. They also come with an acceleration mod, increasing armor mobility, allowing you to move faster, so 265 with the mod 270. So pick these up if you don't have them. If you want to mess around, go ahead. Otherwise, you can steer clear if you don't want to have this in your arsenal. And finally, moving into the Warlock exotic that was prophesized for all of these years, and I, for one, welcome our Sunbracer Overlords for the next eternity as they take up the Warlock slot in Xur's inventory for the foreseeable future. Sunbracers are a pair of exotic gauntlets for the Warlock, specifically for the Dawnblade, now the Solar subclass. Intrinsic perk on the Sunbracers is Helium Spirals, increases the duration of solar grenades and grants grenade energy on solar melee hits, so slightly useful there if you're running a Dawnblade subclass and you don't have a better exotic for your solar subclass. Go ahead and pop these on. It can only help your solar grenades if you're using them, and solar melee hits will also charge your grenade energy. So it's slightly useful. There are definitely better exotics for the subclass, but if you don't have anything better, you might as well put these on. If you don't have them and you want them for your collection, he's selling them this week, so go ahead and pick them up. If we know anything from Destiny 1, he'll probably be selling these for the foreseeable future, so you might be okay if you miss this weekend. He'll probably have them next weekend. Modification on these is Kinetic Munitions Loader. This improves reload speed for equipped kinetic weapons, a very useful mod for gauntlets. I have this on pretty much all of my gauntlets, and it's pretty noticeable once you start using it. 265 on these power level with the mod 270. Very useful mod here, so I recommend that if you want something. Free mod, it costs 29 shards, but free mod, or 23 shards, but free mod. It saves Glimmer, at least. That's a good way to look at that. So here's the exotic gear: Wardcliff Coil, or the Dubious Volley, the Foe Tracer for the Hunter, the ACD0 feedback fence for the Titans, and the Sunbracers Praise Be for the Warlocks, and that's essentially your haul this week from Xur, Agent of the Nine. Like I said, he's hiding on Titan inside the rig. Anyway, that's where Xur is, and that's what he's got. Some interesting choices there. If you need something he has, go ahead and pick them up. Legendary shards aren't really used for anything in Destiny 2. They might have some use in the faction rally next week, so maybe hold on to them if you have an abundance. You might as well just, buy some stuff you don't have. Expand your exotic collections, try out a new weapon or a new piece of armor, and, see if you like something he's selling. Otherwise, that's going to be pretty much it from me. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, I very much appreciate it, so thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, until next time.